Okay, so we will get started. If you have a mat, you can place it like long ways next to a wall. And if we will be using the wall today, so make sure it's a wall that doesn't have a lot of stuff on it, if possible. Like no a lot of like picture frames that would fall or anything like that. If you have like a nice open space on wall like this, that should work really well. All we'll really need is space right here to put our hands for support. So we're just using the wall for support. We're not going to do any sort of like big things against the wall where we're, using our whole body against the wall. So it shouldn't be a huge problem. Just be mindful if you do have things hanging, you want to make sure that they don't fall off and obviously like fall onto you. And then if you have a chair, you can bring your chair and you can place it towards the top of your mat with the side of the chair parallel to the wall. And with it at the top of your mat, I wanted to get started. Make sure that chair is nice and sturdy, right? It doesn't have to be like super like heavy and in place, but it's sturdy enough that you're able to put both hands on the back of the chair and start to walk your feet further back. So we're going to take, we would call this like a modified downward facing dog. You can also do this with hands on the wall and walking your feet back if you don't have access to a chair. But it's really nice to grip onto the back of that chair, walk your feet back a bit, and then you can bend your knees a lot if you need to, because sometimes it can be a lot in the hamstrings, but bend your knees a bit. And then I want you to think about if someone was pulling your hips away from that chair towards whatever is behind you, right? So then you can keep your hands on that chair and you might let your chest sink a little bit. I don't want it to be like gravity totally takes hold here and your chest sinks down. But just this idea that think about your torso getting longer on each side and make sure your head isn't dropped down. See if your ears can be in line with your arms here. And you might pull back. That might be a nice stretch in the upper back for you, maybe even creating space in the low back as well. Can feel really nice, especially if you've been sitting in a chair for a while, if you have tension. Take a full breath in and a full breath out, and then slowly start to come back. Keep your left foot where it is, so further back away from the chair. And as you start to lift your chest, step your right foot right behind that chair here. So you're coming into like a lunge, right? Your legs are split. Your right foot is forward. Your left foot is behind you. And your hands stay firmly on that chair. And now start to bend through your right knee a little more. You can even bend through your left if that needs to happen. And then think about lifting your sternum, lifting your chest, maybe lifting your chin. So you're finding a little bit more extension in that left hip. So the front of that left hip stretches and you press your hands into the chair. If you need to come to fingertips, you can keep lifting the chest. And then maybe even keep your left hand on the chair, but reach your right hand up towards the sky. You can stay here or reach the right hand behind you a bit and trace a little bit of a circle. Do that two more times. Reach it forward and up. Reach it back and down. Can that back leg stay super strong and engaged? One more round up, back, and down. And you're going to spin that back heel down. So your left heel will come to the ground. So the outer edge of that back foot is almost parallel with the back edge of your mat. And you press down into that foot evenly, keep bending through your right knee. So it's almost like a warrior two shape. You're facing the long edge of your mat. But your right hand will hold on to that chair and you'll start to tip your torso towards the chair and reach your left arm alongside your ear here. So it's almost like we would call this like extended side angle pose. but the goal is to find a little bit more length through the left side. And you might even lean a little bit more towards the chair, towards your right side. Take one more big breath in, and you'll slowly come up to that warrior two like shape. And then you take your hands, both of them, back to that chair one last time to find a lunge. So you'll bring that back heel up. You'll lift through the chest, a little bit of a back bend here. Take one more inhale, maybe the chin will lift. And then you'll look straight ahead. Step your left foot up to meet the right. Now hold onto that back of that chair, press down through your feet. And then can your glutes engage a little bit more? Your legs are nice and sturdy and strong. Softly send your shoulder blades together and draw the shoulders down away from your ears. Do that one more time. You might shrug the shoulders up and then squeeze the shoulder blades together as you bring the shoulders back, and then let them drop down. See if you can keep that space in the neck, but then send your hips towards the back, like draw your hips towards the back of that chair, and then keep your glutes really strong, glutes engaged, to then lift the sternum, maybe lift the chin. Little bit of a back bend here with the support of the back of that chair. Take one more inhale, and you'll slowly come back to neutral. Now your left foot will stay where it is. Big step back with the right. Softly bend both knees. Bend a little bit more in that left knee, and then lift your sternum up. So now you get to feel the stretch in the front of the right hip. Your right hand can stay where it is. And if you'd like a little twist, your left hand will reach up. And then maybe you reach it back and you reach it down. Do that two more times. Reach forward and up. Reach back and down. One last time. Reach forward and up. Reach back and down. Now you get to spin that back heel down. Plant the right foot really firmly. Your left hand will stay. And then you'll reach the right arm alongside your ear, your right ear here. And you might even tip over to the left. Nice and long here. Can your right side get a little bit longer here as you press down through the foot, reach through the fingertips? Tip your torso a little bit more. Take one more big breath in. And you'll slowly come back to that warrior two shape. Long arms to start. Now take both hands to your chair here. And you can start to spin that back heel up just for a moment. Can you lift through the chest? Lift through the sternum. One more big breath in here. So nice. And then you'll step that right foot up to meet the left. Now, instead of that little back bend here, I want you to stand up really tall and then just take your right hand to the wall, left hand to the wall, and then you'll turn to face the wall. So it's like you're standing in that sort of, we would call it Tadasana, but a mountain pose like shape. But you're going to take your hands right in front of you, almost like at 90 degrees here. You won't be able to see, but your hands will press into the wall here. I want you to shift your weight into your left foot. And then you can just bring the sole of your right foot to your left shin here, or your left calf. And then can the top of your head reach up a little bit higher towards the sky? You can play with this sort of balance here. Now, if you want, you feel really sturdy, you can take your hands away from the wall. Maybe the fingertips just lightly press. And you take one hand or the other. Just play with balance. You might even take your hands higher if the wall allows. And then you might even play with your gaze here and take your gaze up to where the ceiling meets the wall. Maybe you let go. Maybe you embrace a little wobble or two. Know that the wobbles are just making that supporting leg stronger. Take one more breath in and out, and you'll release. And bring that right foot to the ground. And then while you're here, take your arms down along your sides. Take them then out like a letter T with your palms first facing the wall in front of you. And I want you to turn your thumbs down, palms behind you. Start to then bring your arms back down along your sides. And then can you press your palms back behind you a little bit more? Then once you have that, keep that broadness across your collarbones. Bend your elbows and either place palm over palm onto your low back or grab opposite forearms. Keep that and then lift your sternum, lift your chin. Take that little bit of a back bend here. You might even softly bend the knees a little more, engage the glutes. Take one more big inhale to open up through the chest. And then slowly come back to neutral. Release the arms. Take a little roll of the shoulders. Maybe a little bounce of the hands or a flick of the wrists. Wiggle the fingers around. Roll the wrists around. And then bring your hands back to the wall. You're going to shift the weight to the right foot. See if you can spread your toes out as wide as you can. And then you'll bring the left foot to your right calf. If that feels like a little bit too wobbly and you know you want a little more stability, the left big toe can touch the ground, or the ball of the left foot can also ground down. That's also an option. Can you stand up even taller here? You can keep a hold of the wall, of course, but if you want to play with balance, maybe just the pads of the fingers touch. Maybe you release hands away from the wall. It's really nice to pick one point in front of you. In yoga, we call it a drishti, right? Like one steady point, one non-moving point to look at. Keep your gaze there. And if you want to shift that gaze, even though it might compromise your balance, it's okay. Try it on. Maybe lift it up. Look up to where the ceiling meets the wall. Maybe reach your hands up. Adds a little bit of a challenge, but know you have the wall there to catch you. Take one more big breath in wherever you are and gently release. Give the arms a little bit of a shake, wiggle it all out, flick the wrists, the fingers. Then you're going to take your chair, you can bring it to the center of your mat, and you're just going to find a seat. We're going to take a little bit more movement here and then find a bit of stillness to end our time together. So hug your right knee into your chest. Give a roll of the ankle. And we're going to find that figure four cross, similar to what we did last week, but that right ankle will just come right on top of the thigh or the knee. And that knee might be lifted a lot. That's okay. I want you to think about wherever you are, just sitting up nice and tall. And then little by little, you can encourage that right knee to just drop down. Make sure your seat is even on your chair as you sit up tall. Breathe in. And then you might stay here or think about the points of your hips tipping forward. And then the rest of your spine just kind of stays in line as you just gently tip forward. So you keep the chest nice and broad, even though there's that sensation or the stretch happening in the hips. And you soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. You're just here for 3 rounds of breath, your own. Notice your inhale. Ease on your exhale. Last two. Last one. And you'll slowly come up. Hug that knee back in. Maybe even trace a little circle in both directions with that right knee. And you'll bring the right foot down and then you'll switch. Left knee, hug it in. Maybe take a roll of the ankle. And you'll create that figure four cross. Wherever you are, can you sit up really tall? Broaden across the chest, stay here, or begin to tip forward a bit. Like for me, if I am thinking about the hips and the pelvis just tipping like this, right? Not so much just rounding. I really don't have to move too far to find that sensation on the outer left hip. So wherever you are, take a breath in, calm breath out. Two more like that. You might even soften your gaze, right? So take your gaze maybe down to the ground. Last one, in and out. You'll gently release, hug that left knee in, trace a circle both directions. And you'll bring the left foot down to meet the right. Now your hands, place them right on your thighs. Maybe take a roll of the shoulders. Allow them to soften away from your ears and then close your eyes. Just a brief moment in stillness to take just inventory of maybe you're feeling a little bit more present, a little more grounded, a little more in your body than you were before. Notice it. And then right here, 3 mindful, slow breaths. So get totally empty. And then your next breath in, slowly breathe in for 3, 2, 1. Slightly pause at the top. And then breathe out. Maybe it's a sigh, slow sigh out. 3, 2, 1. Then again, breathe in. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Slow exhale. 2, 1. Last round. In and out. And stay here, or you can bring your hands together in front of your heart here. You might even bow your chin a bit towards that space and just honor yourself for creating the space in your day, to create space in your body, a little bit of space in your breath, maybe also a little bit of space in your mind. And one last breath in and a breath out. You can gently blink the eyes open, take in a little bit more light. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. And we'll see you again soon.